Do you want an amazing marriage? Are you ready to take your marriage to the next level? Then stick around for your Marriage Matters podcast with marriage coach Lynn. Let's put some fun and sizzle into your relationship.
We are video recording this episode, so if you'd like to watch this episode, please visit and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Marriage Coach Lynn. As you can see, my husband is here co-hosting today because our topic is the first time one of our children got married. We're going to talk about our experiences and our feelings. So thanks for joining us. It was a new experience for us. We are so excited and delighted that one of our kids got married and found a wonderful partner. As you know, we are the parents of 6 children.
Yeah, and it all started for us Father's Day last year, 2018. My son Rob, our oldest son Rob, he called me on Father's Day to wish me a happy Father's Day, and then said, "Oh yeah, Dad, I have something to tell you. I'm going to ask Andrea to marry me." And I was like, wow, okay, that's great. And it was so exciting, and it was so nice that he told me first too. I felt really touched that he would, tell me. None of the sisters knew, or his younger brother. No, I don't think you knew, did you?
I didn't
know. I actually told you because he was the first one to tell me. So it was like, wow, this is new for me. I mean, one of our children getting married. I mean, it was really wonderful. I know we were, then it got me looking back on our wedding and then going through history and all that, and looking at the whole idea of marriage and all that. And
yeah, you're right. The flood of feelings. You're like, your whole life is just some video that's just moments in time just kind of jump out at you, and it's very exciting and it's helpful. People asked me when I first told them and they heard that my son's getting married, "Do you like the fiance?" Yes, very much so. We do live several states away, so we don't have the luxury of seeing them often. Over the course of a year and a half, 2 years of their dating, we've seen her maybe 3 times, 3 weekends, 3 or 4, and we look forward to getting to know her. We know she's from a wonderful family, happily married for over 35 years, 4 children in her family, so it was just a wonderful announcement. And so, yes, we had to keep the engagement a secret because they were going to do it a traditional way where the groom was going to ask the father for the bride's permission. Now, our son is now 31 and his wife is 31, and she was living at home with the parents, and Rob's number one priority was to keep it a secret, keep the popping the question a secret. So he was at risk if he were to ask the father or the parents for permission to marry. They might walk around the house smiling and give it away, and they totally approved of Rob. Since he lives near them, they have gotten together on several occasions, and they even joked that, "Oh, this is our future son-in-law." So we kind of knew the question would be coming maybe, but when it happens, it's a totally different situation.
Yeah, up till then, they had been dating for 2 years, I think.
Almost,
they first met
almost 2.
Over 2 years ago. So they had discussed marriage, and I know Rob told me they had talked about getting married, but they certainly didn't talk about exactly when he was going to ask, and that was the big secret kind of thing. So it's kind of funny that she's living at home, and he never ended up actually being able to find a time where he could get her parents together where he could talk to them without her there, without it looking suspicious. So
yeah.
But like Lynn said, I mean, they were definitely love him too, and we love Andrea, and they're just a great couple together.
And Rob had a plan. He wanted to ask her around July 4th weekend, so it was very romantic. He recreated the place they had their first date was a nice restaurant in Alexandria, and with a walk in the park, and he recreated that. And so when he did ask her, I think the first person to hear about it was, I think she called her mom. So it was just really sweet, and it was so exciting. The wedding preparation, or actually the marriage preparation. In our faith, the Catholic faith, there are many intense marriage preparations. They want you to prepare for 6 months. They want you to be sure of it. You go through various classes, meetings with a priest, natural family planning classes, or a course actually. So the preparation time is also a wonderful time, not only to get ready for the wedding day, but to get ready for the lifetime. And as the groom's mom, I had to find out early on what my place was. I have my opinions.
You didn't like your place.
I didn't like my place at first because I have my opinions, I have my suggestions, but it was good for me because I learned quickly that this is their life, this was their day they were planning for, and that my opinions didn't really matter, but so I would insert ideas here and there, and they were listened to. But you have to be careful not to run the show, and sometimes they call brides bridezilla and the moms momzilla, because the women get in there and they take over and they make this a big historical event. So I just laid back and found a comfortable role, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was a traditional marriage, basically, where the bride's parents kind of planned the wedding and reception itself, and the groom's parents, the rehearsal dinner the night before. So that was really our role, as planning the rehearsal dinner. So that's what Lynn had a hard time with. She had so much she wanted to say about how to do the wedding and how to do the reception, and she had to kind of bite her tongue. But yeah.
And when you bite your tongue, they actually planned a wonderful wedding. They kept within a wonderful budget.
Yeah.
They could really advise other couples on how to do a low budget wedding, but a high classy wedding. I mean, we're talking a wedding where she's of Bolivian heritage, and there was dancing, about 100 people. Everybody stayed for like the full 6 hours dancing. We had to like kick people out to be out by a certain time, because almost 90%, 95% of the people who came to the wedding just stayed the entire day. So much fun and love, and just a great festivity. And here's what's interesting. When Rob told me, okay, I'm engaged, I said, Rob, your wedding is going to be my second most favorite wedding of all time. And he's like, what? I go, yes, mine first and then yours, because our wedding was fantastic. So after the wedding day, though, my husband and I agreed their wedding was better than ours. And we'll tell you why in a few minutes. I think we'll tell you why in a few minutes. But so what were your feelings on, maybe we should move up to the wedding day.
I was going to say, let's get up to it, yeah.
The wedding day.
So this was July.
June. Oh, wait, yeah, he proposed July 4th.
He proposed in July of 2018. They got married in February of this year, 2019. Mm-hmm. So during that time, they're going through their preparations, their wedding preparations, and we didn't have much really to do up to that point. Lynn got busy planning where do we have the rehearsal dinner, and she ended up finding a nice little restaurant really close to where Rob lives there, and that worked out really well. And should we just go right into the wedding day?
So what I did was, to get to the wedding, I decided to take a solo road trip. And I put 2,300 miles on the van, driving around. I visited friends. I had a great time. And I was there to help my daughter move out of Rob's townhouse. And I was there. I did a lot of support activities, and it was great. And so then we had people from all over, really, the world coming in. For our family, all over the country, from Hawaii to Florida to just all over the place. And her family, she had some relatives from Spain and Bolivia coming. So we made it a festivity, like several days, maybe 4 or 5 days. So we had like these little get-togethers a couple nights before, and it was fun to spend extra time with relatives beforehand, because on the wedding day, you're talking to so many people that it's very special to have before and after small group chats and conversations and get-togethers. So in the evening, the night before, the rehearsal dinner before, we had me, Bob, my son Mikey, and Rob staying in Rob's townhouse, and that worked out well. At first, Bob had suggested, let's give Rob his space and stay in a hotel when we go up to the area and stay 4 nights, and I'm glad we changed our mind on that, and we decided no. He said, I've got plenty of room, you can stay here. And the night before, we were up till 1:30 in the morning talking and chatting, and it just was very special. And the morning when we woke up, it turned out well for Bob to be there with Rob.
Oh, because I was, having gone through my own wedding and worn a tux a few times. I don't know if that was the first time he ever wore a tux.
No, he's had a few occasions. He's had a few occasions.
Any of you guys who've ever worn a tuxedo, it's a little different than a regular suit. Cufflinks, what do you do with those? And, a bow tie and all that. So I was helping him out with that, so it was really, really kind of neat. And I was remembering back to my wedding too, and my parents, and there was this one picture that I wanted to have done, so that was on my mind. Mm-hmm. When we get up to the wedding thing, me with shaking my father's hand, and I think the whole sense of family is what really struck me about the whole thing. The continuity of life, God's plan, and children. Why do we have children, and what's the meaning of all of this? You begin to see your place in the cosmos here, if I want to get really deep, and your place in humanity. Here it is in new lives, your children. And then when you see your child get married, the family grows, and then God willing, they have children, and then I'll go through it all again as I see the next generation. But it's that continuity that I realize, they're going to be around long after Lynn and I are gone. And then if, God willing, they have children, their children will be on, and you've got this family tree now that's growing. And I was really struck by that, the whole weekend.
I agree with that when someone says, how do you feel? I feel that it's very profound. And it's so profound that history was in the making. And people would say to me, well, with your wedding, history was in the making. But I was 22, he was 26, and we were in love, and marriage was great. And I didn't see our marriage as history in the making. I knew it was permanent.
No, I just was so nervous at my wedding. I was sweating so bad, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I was
thinking, this is for life. Oh my gosh.
It was major, but it didn't feel enormous like history making. Whereas with our son, I feel like it's history making.
Now,
like I can see into the generations.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yes.
You can see the history now unfolding right before your eyes. Here, your child. Now he's getting married. It's like, wow. He's not my little Robbie who's playing with his jack-in-the-box back when he was 2 and.
He's a grown man and adult. Marriage is a major adult thing. It's really, like I said on this podcast, it's the most important decision of your life. Really, more so than buying a house, moving, taking on your new job, doing something new or different. This is taken seriously. It's for life. So, and then you have kids, and it's the family tree. So the wedding of our son was very profound. It's very exciting. They're happy. They're off to a good start. I feel they're off to a good start.
Yeah, the
sacrament of matrimony.
Yeah, I'm just going to go on. As Catholics, marriage is a sacrament, and it's just a beautiful gift from God of His grace to the married couple there who really administer the sacrament to each other, in their vows. And I was just getting so choked up watching that during the ceremony. And the priest, he gave such a great homily, and the ceremony was just beautiful. And you just see God's love shining down on their wedding, and know that His grace is there to help them, just as it was with Lynn and I, getting through good times and in bad, and sickness and in health, as the vows go. And it's just a beautiful thing.
And we were extra blessed because she also, Andrea or Andy, she also comes from a very solid family with a good, firm foundation. Yeah. And so what a blessing to have 2 young people getting married, and there wasn't a lot of brokenness of divorce, or it was so happy and festive and wonderful. I was actually proud. I really felt proud that whole day, like, wow, look at this. We have 6 kids. They all get along. They're happy. He's marrying a wonderful woman. She's marrying a wonderful guy. And I wanted to take the last 2 minutes here, because we're running really short on our time, and talk about your marriage is for societal influence. And I don't know if many people think of this. They think, your marriage matters to you. Oh, we want to be happy. We want to work on our communication. We want to have a great connection. We want to have a good marriage. Have you ever stopped and thought the importance that your marriage is to your children? Because the statistics will show, the research shows, that the very marriage that makes an impact on a child is the marriage they grew up in, observing the parents, living life with the parents. And I guess I'm just going to have to go ahead and say my anti-divorce message is that when you get divorced, you really make a huge impact on your children. They are 46% more likely to divorce themselves when they get married. So imagine two young people marrying, coming from divorced households. I know it happens. I know it's part of our landscape, of our culture. But I hope that couples will stop and think, if you do have problems, are they really catastrophic, major problems worthy of a divorce? You divorce, you're maybe going to go on to a new partner. That new partner has different parenting styles, different influence on the child. Anyways, I don't want to belabor any negativity, but your marriage matters in your family because your kids are going to grow up in your nuclear family, so to speak, and have that example. Did they have a loving couple? So, we're at our 15-minute mark, and I like to keep this podcast brief. So is there anything else you'd like to add today?
I don't think so. I think that's the key. Just, Lynn is right. Your marriage matters. Do whatever you can to make it work. And it can be work sometimes, but it is worthwhile. God gives His grace to help get through hard times, and it gets through, and then you get rewarded, and you see your children grow up like that, and get married, and you see it continue, and it just makes it work.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining me today, and make your marriage great.